Hey, it's Lindsay for my Quickflash challenge. I think that's what it's called. I rolled a 3, which I believe is the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I had my friend Regina over earlier, and I asked her to pick 3 items for me. She picked a fork for my utensil, this small plate, and my largest mixing bowl. So interesting combination. I don't think I'll be using the mixing bowl today because it's not helpful in building a sandwich, but I can see how it could be helpful in other things. I think that this will be a pretty simple and straightforward task considering, well, we know how to make a sandwich. A fork isn't that different from what I would normally use to make a sandwich. I would normally use a knife and a spoon, a knife for the peanut butter and a spoon for the jelly. And then the knife to cut the sandwich, of course. So I've got my bread, I've got my peanut butter, got my jelly. Let me move my bread so you can see. There we go. And I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna start with the peanut butter first. So I'm gonna scrape peanut butter out of the jar. Stays pretty well. I think the peanut butter stops it from going through the hole, so I think that helps turning this fork into a knife. I suppose if I really wanted to, I could use the back end of the fork and make it even more so like a knife. But I think spreading it with the correct end of the fork works just fine. As you can see, it's spreading pretty well. I'm noticing also that surprisingly the peanut butter isn't pushing through the tines of the fork as much as I thought it would. It tends to just create a surface that the peanut butter is not going to go through, and I can just spread the peanut butter evenly on my sandwich. So that works out well. I have fairly sturdy bread. It's oat nut bread, so it's working pretty nicely. Okay, let me scrape off the peanut butter here. I don't like getting peanut butter in my jelly jar, so I'm going to rinse my fork and hope that that's okay and still in the spirit of the challenge. So yeah, so the peanut butter stayed in the fork like this, which I think is really helpful for me in creating that knife that I needed for this. So one moment. Okay, moving on to the jelly. All right. Oh, jelly is not as easy as using a spoon. It just wants to go through and not stay on the fork. But what I usually would do with jelly is I chop it up so that it spreads more nicely across the bread. The fork is great for that. I can appreciate using a fork for jelly now. Might do that in the future. I have more forks than I have spoons in my kitchen, so it might be worthwhile looking into that. There we go. Also, I don't know why I do this, but when I'm putting peanut butter or jam on bread, I use my hands a lot. I don't really put it down. I could theoretically be putting this on the plate, but it's not something I'm comfortable with, and I can't spread the jelly to the consistency that I like by putting it on the plate. So I'm just spreading it in my hand, and then I can put the two together. Now the question is, once I'm done spreading my jelly, do I want to cut my sandwich? I think I do. I think I will cut, because this is almost a knife. I'm pretty sure I can confidently cut my sandwich either straight or diagonally with it. All right, we've got peanut butter coverage and jelly coverage. And it worked out pretty well, I would have to say, for myself. All right, good looking sandwich there. I'm just gonna cut it right down the middle, I think. I'm using the side end of the fork, not the pointy end. Well, there, not this end, but this side, so that I can use it more like a knife rather than like a fork. And there we go. 2 halves of a peanut butter sandwich. Works for dinner. Not bad.